Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thursday's MUTV Group Chat. 21st of May, an important day in United's history. We've won 2 FA Cup finals on this day, won the Europa League and the 2008 Champions League. Can't believe it's 12 years ago now. And of course, included on our panel is the man who assisted Ronaldo that day, Wes Brown. Mate, first of all, morning, guys. Hope you're all okay. Can you believe it's 12 years ago?
Is it 12 years, Stu?
It is.
Wow, that's gone quick. Great night though, but I can't believe it's been that long. Good times, good memories, mate.
And you were the man. You were the man who set up United's goal that day with the left foot, with the cross. Was that from the training ground?
I swung one in, mate. Swung one into the danger area. That was all, pal.
Get in the mix.
How tense was it, mate? I mean, thank God you didn't take a penalty. Thank God for all of us you didn't take a penalty. How tense was it?
Never took one.
You were off the field at that point, but how tense was it, mate?
Yeah, it was horrible. Especially, we all know John Terry going in to take that penalty. I was probably thinking the worst, mate. But then after that, a little bit like 99 when we scored, the adrenaline just changes. And I thought, we've got this now. Edwin's going to save one. But yeah, it was nerve-wracking.
Was it hard to watch? Was it almost better to be on there because at that point you weren't out there? Was it just hard to watch?
I mean, it was hard to watch. I was so nervous, and I wasn't even on the pitch by then. So I don't know what it was like for the lads. It must have been horrendous, especially Ronaldo missing, and then you're just thinking, well, this is it. To be fair, they've got good penalty takers. But you always believe, don't you? And we eventually got there.
What were the celebrations like when Edwin made that save? It was mayhem, wasn't it? What was it like?
Yeah, mayhem. I remember my knee swollen straight after because I smacked into the board, slipped it, and we were jumping on him. Oh my God! Yeah, it was crazy. The celebrations were good. It was a very late game, if you remember, lad.
Yeah.
So party didn't probably start till late, if I'm being honest. But well, the bits I can remember anyway. But it was very good. It was a bit different than in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And there wasn't as many fans about as in around the hotel and stuff. But still, it was a fantastic achievement.
And I've got a team sheet behind me there, and there's a picture. And you made sure with a trophy lift, a bit like Maisie in '99, that you were in all the pictures, didn't you?
Maisie, I'm sure Maisie remembers. He says, "Wes, get on them pictures, mate." So I don't know. I was standing nearby, and I thought they're going to lift it up here, so let me just duck my head under. So I thought, yeah, that's okay. But yeah, that did come to mind when we were lifting it. I did the Maisie little shout. Make sure you get in the middle, Pat, or high, middle or high.
Never miss a trophy.
Yeah, lads, were any of you there? Or what do you your memories of just watching the drama?
I wasn't there. I just remember watching it at home, and like Wes said, he felt the worst on penalties. I remember thinking, oh my God, when Ronaldo is obviously playing like that level time, when he misses, you do think the worst. But there's always that little romance with United where you think we could still do it, And obviously we ended up doing it.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was stressful. Ben, I know you weren't there, but it was stressful, wasn't it? A stressful watch.
Yeah, without question. I mean, obviously, it turned out to be a fantastic evening, but like Wes said, I mean, even watching it on the TV, you just don't know where to look. But actually being there and knowing what's at stake, it must have been horrendous. But like I said, turned out to be a fabulous night. Is that the one that started on one day and finished on another?
It did. I mean, we're talking about the 21st of May, but actually finished on the 22nd of May. Yeah. There you go. Maisie, what are your memories?
I think I was in the studio, Stu.
Yeah.
I think so. Just going mental in the studio when John Terry slipped.
Yeah.
Such a shame on it.
It's a tragedy, wasn't it?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, brilliant memories of United winning in Moscow 12 years ago. Right, now how great was it to see United's players back in action at the Aon training complex yesterday? Obviously socially distanced in small groups, players coming in at different times. First of all, just have a look at this, because we've got exclusive shots of them at the Aon training complex. So guys, you can tell from the actual the looks on the players' faces that I think it's a bit of a relief to them to be back on the grass again after, well, more than 2 months.
They've been obviously going through some very, very strange times, unprecedented times where they've had to, follow their own programs and be. I'm sure the motivation wasn't the problem, but there's been obviously a hell of a lot of work gone into what they've been doing for these last, couple of months, and obviously what they're now transitioning into. Groups of 4 all working with different coaches, but they all look extremely happy to be out there and are probably relieved that the testing there. It's a very, very safe environment and they can get on with the training using the social distancing and concentrating on the work ahead.
And I suppose, Dan, the players, as soon as they get back to the Aon training complex, even though it's incredibly early days, at least they'll be thinking to themselves that they are now truly on the pathway to actually playing again.
Yeah, and it's always nice. It's like your first day back in pre-season, just to see the lads, even if they're not, dead close together, they'll still be having a bit of banter. There'll still be, that little bit of butterflies you get in your stomach when you've got a lot of hard work ahead of you, which is like, you're going to be put through your paces. You've got to get fit. If you go in for the deadline of, the games coming back in the middle of June, then they're thinking, right, we've got to get fit in a short space of time. There's going to be a lot of work. But first and foremost, it's just good to get your first day out of the way, and then you get back on the treadmill again. And
at the Aon training complex, it's often windy and it's often quite cold. Yesterday, beautiful 25 degrees sunny. Maybe the lads might be thinking, Maisie, this is the way forward. Summer football.
Oh yeah, summer football. Yeah. No, as Danny and Ben touched on it, just great to be back kicking a ball. Probably, they've got their own stuff to do back at home, and you can do that all day long, but it must be so boring and monotonous. So the fact now that they are, within touching distance of seeing everybody and, seeing other faces, it must be so relieving, really, because, it's been, 8-9 weeks now since the last kicked a ball. It's a long time.
Well, we had an exclusive chat with the skipper, Harry Maguire, about life at the Aon training complex after a couple of months away. Let's see what he had to say.
It's been a strange, obviously, few months, couple of months, should I say. But no, it's been a protocol which the club's followed, and everyone, obviously, it seems such a safe environment. We've only first day back today, but it seems so safe and everyone's respecting it so well. So long may that continue, and I'm sure no one will have any problems.
Training is different though, isn't it? So explain what it is like now.
Well, there's a lot less people at the training ground when we go in. Today I was in a group of 4, working with one coach. So not many people, you've got a lot of space, big areas, not going really close to anyone. But the main thing is getting the work in, and it was a tough session, and come home, and now I'm relaxed and it's all in the bank, and looking forward to tomorrow.
So you're training in smaller groups, so there's kind of slots where a particular group will go in and work?
Yeah, there's slots all the way throughout the day, so some people will be in the afternoon. I feel sorry for the boys who's in the afternoon today with the weather, so I'm sure it'll be tough running out there. But no, the slots, I think it's every 30 minutes we have a different slot, and each slot is taken by a different coach at the club. So no, it's obviously strange and something that we're not used to, but I think at the moment it's just getting the base fitness, the physical fitness, and I think it's good for mentally as well, obviously to come back into the training ground and get used to the surroundings again.
So Harry Maguire, and you can see the rest of that interview on the official Manchester United app. Although I was slightly put off, Ben, by Sully's shirt. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't concentrate on what he was saying. No, Harry.
I don't recall him popping round to my house and borrowing any gear. That's for sure. But I don't know what it was.
It did look a bit like one of yours, actually. It did look like one of yours. But it was, again, whereas it's a strange one for Harry, talking about how they're in very, very small groups. Each of them have got a coach, and certain players are coming in later in the day at different times. It's training, but it's kind of not as we know it, isn't it? It kind of must be quite strange for the lads.
Yeah, it will be, but I just think they'll be happy just to get out of the house and get back into the training ground and working with the coaches. I mean, that in itself, I think, is good for them. Like Maisie said, you can do as much as you want at home, but it's not the same as going to training and doing it on the pitch and doing it with all the staff and getting everything done. So, you could see there was all smiles. Great day to go back as well with the weather. And, eventually now over the next few weeks, I'm sure there'll be, instead of 4s, it'll be maybe 8s. And then when they're allowed, they'll start doing everybody together. But I'm sure they were, really pleased to be back in.
Yeah, hopefully just the beginning. Actually, just a couple of emails from yesterday's show, Ben. You mentioned about the state of the shirt you were wearing, which is quite similar to the one that Sally was wearing. This email from David, he said, "Keep up the good work, lads. Has Ben been decorating in that shirt?" Which I think is rude. And then he said, "I've got a new song for Ben, because we always talk to Ben about where he is. He looks suspiciously like he's in sort of the Costa del Sol or somewhere every day. Ben Thornley is a weatherman. Ben Thornley is a weatherman. Ben Thornley is a weatherman. And so is Michael Fish." So that is David's email. Who, I don't know, but he's not kind about your shirt, mate. And he thinks there is a changing career for you in weather forecasting.
I've got Daniel to thank for that. I think he was the one who christened me Michael Fish. But hey, listen, if I can help in any way.
He also says, "We appreciate this. I've been watching the group chat since day one as I'm furloughed from work. In fact, you lot are the reason why I subscribed to MUTV. Wes, Maisie, Ben and Danny are great. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate your thoughts." This one on YouTube. Great chat as always, lads. Please try to get Steve Bruce on. Loved his passion and leadership in the early 90s. And he'd be able to talk about his managerial roles too. And this one, we had Jesper Blomqvist yesterday. Such an underrated player, quality squad player during the treble for Sweden as well at the 94 World Cup. Yeah, great guy, good player as well, Jesper Blomqvist. Right, time to bring on our guest today. He does a really important job at the club, United's head of academy, Nick Cox. How you doing, Nick? Thanks for waiting for us to chat and talk nonsense, but it's good to see you. Everything okay?
Yeah, I could have waited all day. I've got nothing else on, but no, it's great. Thank you.
I mean, you obviously oversee a lot of youngsters who are desperate to play football and really start their careers, but they can't. It must be so difficult for them at the moment.
It's been a really difficult period of time. We've got 200 boys. Obviously, the 18s and the 23s are quite prominent on MUTV, but we've got squads right down to the under-9s. We've got other projects running as well. And this is horrible for those kids. They're used to freedom, interacting with their mates, playing football on a regular basis, and it's just come to a sudden halt. So we've had a big job on our hands to try and keep them entertained. And
confirmation, I know some people might not realise this, but obviously the 23s league is finished, the under-18s league is, all those leagues, it's all finished effectively.
Yeah, so unlike the Premier League, we're going to try and continue. The decision from the Premier League about youth football was that we should end the league with immediate effect. I think that was announced 2 or 3 weeks ago. Still yet to be decided what that means in terms of league placings. Perhaps not quite so important at youth level and 23s level. But yeah, it's come to an abrupt end. So we kept the boys ticking over for a period of time when we thought we might be returning. But as of that announcement, in effect now, the boys are off for their closed season period, and we'll try and get them prepared for a new season whenever that may be. But that's an unknown kind of start date at this moment in time.
Nick,
sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Just to carry on from that, obviously United's under-18s had reached the semi-final of the Youth Cup. Is there, or will there be plans, with there being so few games left in that competition, to actually finish that when the lads do go back, or is it just been null and voided and it'll be a brand new competition next season?
So as it stands, that's the one competition that hasn't been cancelled. We're still not sure what the plans are with that, but we like to think that because it hasn't been cancelled, that means there is some kind of plan to get it played. As you say, I think 4 more games left to go, really. So 2 semi-finals and a 2-legged final left to go across the whole competition. So realistically, that could be squeezed into the beginning of the new season. You would have the slight issue of which boys are going to play. Is it last year's group, or do you stick with the new age group for next season? I guess you'd have to work that out. but it's well within the realms of possibility that that could get played. I think for such a prestigious competition, it would be strange to have a year with no winner. So we're really keen to get it played. Obviously, we understand people's health and people being safe is number one priority. But we hope that as this eases in the months to come, that we might well get the opportunity to finish the competition, because it's an amazing experience. As you guys have played in the Youth Cup, it's an amazing experience, and we'd love the boys to finish the job they started. Obviously, if we get so well through to the semi-finals. So we've got our fingers crossed. Yeah, we've got our fingers crossed.
Have there been efforts to sort of advise the lads across the age ranges about what to do or how to cope during this period of lockdown?
Yeah, we've had to put an enormous amount of effort into trying to come up with a plan to manage this period of time. The staff have been amazing in terms of their commitment and their ideas and the passion really for young people. They've all we put football on hold. Number one priority has been the well-being of these kids. We're not 100% sure of all of their living arrangements, but we know that some of the boys are going to be finding this tough. Their parents may well be key workers. They might still be going to school. They may be stuck in small flats with not much opportunity to get out and about. So we've put their mental health and well-being at the top of the list. They're regularly with us through a normal week. We'd see them 5 or 6 times a week. It would seem very strange for us not to continue our support now we can't actually physically be with them. So we've had to come up with all sorts of inventive ways, imaginative ways of trying to stay connected with them, help them remain positive, help them to continue their learning in some capacity. Yes, we've tried to put some football stuff on. We've tried to help them stay physically fit. But the number one thing has been, can we just try and engage them as much as possible? So we've been learning languages, putting them on business courses, baking cakes, writing poems, whatever we can do to try and just keep them engaged. It's been brilliant. It is this period of time, you would never choose this period of time to happen, but the way in which the staff and the kids have approached this period of time has just reminded everybody, A, what a wonderful club it is. This is the spirit of uniting, right? We're in adversity and people are stepping forward to find solutions, to reach out, to look after each other. And it's just reminded us all that we're surrounded by amazingly talented young people that are really, really resilient. And that, again, is going to stand them bizarrely in great stead for whatever may come in their careers. So it's a strange period of time. It's a sad period of time, but there's some real positives going off as well.
So is it almost possible that these lads might at some point in the future look back at this time and actually think that was actually useful, whether, like you mentioned, their language or cookery or whatever, all sorts of things, it actually might end up being a very good thing in a way?
Yeah, in a way. As I say, we never would have chosen this period of time to happen, but I think we'll certainly be able to reflect and look at some of the positive outcomes. Yeah, they're going to have missed a period of football development. For some of our really young kids, that's okay. We can recover from that. As they get older, football development has been probably a little bit more at the forefront. If you're 17, 18, you don't want to be losing 6 months of your career whilst you're trying to establish yourself. So we've had to work really hard to maintain their kind of football development and mirror some of the programs that the first team have been rolling out. But for our younger kids, arguably, this is a nice break. If you think that kids join the academy system, they start with us at 9. Before they even make their debut, they might be with us 15 years. So actually a 6-month period of not being in the car 5 nights a week, not being coached to death, not being in a kind of structured environment where they can express themselves, get in the garden, invent their own practices, hang out with their families, learn new skills. There is a positive side to it, and it may well be that we look back on all of this and we realise that there was some benefit in it, and that it wasn't all doom and gloom. I tell you, the number one thing actually is what we've realised is when you leave kids to use their own imagination and you kind of you set them a little challenge and you don't put too many parameters on that challenge and you just support them and you run with it, their imagination goes through the roof beyond anything that any of us coaches could ever have thought up. So we have been receiving stuff from the kids, video footage of them practicing in the garden, poems they've written, meals they've made, letters they've written there to their granny, and it's like, wow, we never could have imagined. We couldn't have set that as a task. The kids have just come up with it themselves, and it's been brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Also, I've read about sort of Q&As obviously online Q&As with like the manager and the likes of Michael Carrick and some players. Has that been a factor as well?
Yeah, that's been a really positive experience. I don't know if Wes knows it yet, but he's on the list for the next couple of weeks to come and chat to the kids. But I think he's been chatting to Dave Bushell. We've had every Friday the opportunity for all the kids to get online and to try and pick the brains of some United folk, you know, learn about their careers, learn about how they managed to achieve what they did, and ask as many questions as they can. So the manager came on to kick it all off. Michael Carrick came and spoke from a kind of a first team perspective. Ryan Giggs, Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay, and they've been absolutely amazing. We've had like the 7 and 8 year old kids interacting with the older kids, asking those sorts of questions. It's been really powerful. And we've tried to do the same for the coaches as well. So we've got a lot of coaches that are used to routine, they're used to being outdoors, they're used to social interaction, they're used to physical exercise every day, and now they're stuck at home. So we've had a bit of an effort of trying to keep those guys active and engaged as well. So we've put a load of online sessions on. We've had loads of kind of experienced football folk on a daily basis, question and answers, little presentations, and that's been pretty exciting as well. That's been a piece of learning that we wouldn't have got had this not all happened. So there's another positive, I guess.
Nick, do you? Sorry, Stu.
No, I want you to ask a question. Go for it.
Yeah. Do you still get new players in at this time? And opposite to that, obviously the horrible side of football is just players get released as well. Has that still happened, or have we stick to what we had, or has players still been released so they can get new clubs, or how's it worked?
That's a really great question. So last weekend was the official retain and release date, where everyone has to make a decision right the way down to your little ones, who's staying in your program, who's not staying in your program. It couldn't have come at a worse time. The boys have missed 3 months of their development. They're sitting at home. They are desperate to get back playing football. So we actually made the decision that not to release any of the boys. We think it's absolutely right. Number one priority is here. Can we get them back, smiles on their faces, back with their mates, playing footy, and we will deal with that kind of big decisions and that intense stuff another time. They're kids. We want them back playing. We've got a duty to help them through this difficult time. So we made that decision. I think some other clubs may well have released players. We made the decision with all of our schoolboys that they will come back for their next period of registration. And then with some of the younger pros that are ending their contracts and are aware that their contracts were coming to an end, we're trying to put packages in place for them where whenever the season resumes, they'll come back for a few months with some financial support, with a training program to help them with the next stage of their career. We don't think it's right that boys just disappear, that, March the 3rd, the last time we saw everybody. This club's a family, right? This club looks after its family members. The last thing we could be doing in this situation is delivering bad news and releasing boys into the unknown, really, because it's going to be such a difficult period of time for young players that are out of contract once the season picks up again.
That's Cox, really good, yeah.
You worked at two of my old clubs as well, Watford and Sheffield United. How did that prepare you to come to Man United? Like, because you did good jobs at both of them. A lot of good young players came through under your watch.
I'm following you around the country, aren't I, Webs? Yeah, Watford, Sheffield United, Man United. You know what? The honest answer is nothing prepares you for Manchester United. You know it's the biggest club in the world, but you don't know what that looks like. And then you get in, and it's a monster. And so that's, you can't replicate. That isn't replicated anywhere else.
Yeah.
I think every club, I was lucky, I worked for 2 clubs that put youth right at the heart of everything they do. Watford in particular, a real kind of youth development and community focused football club. But every club says that youth comes first. You get to Manchester United and you realise youth really does come first. People, it's a throwaway comment, isn't it? A lot of clubs, it's central to the club. It really is the case at United. You look at United's best times and you look at the worst times they've ever been through. Youth has been at the heart of surviving those periods of time. But I guess on a more operational level, 20 odd years of working with young kids, trying to help them make debuts, trying to help them get in the first team, seen lots of that. So that stands you in good stead because a lot of the principles of youth development don't change doesn't matter what club you're at, there's some real core fundamentals of things that need to be in place to help support kids on their journey, to give them the right ingredients to get to where they want to get to.
Just final point, Nick, if you don't mind, is that I'm just wondering, Ollie's obvious faith in youth, how inspirational is it across the age ranges when they see what Brandon has done this year, and obviously Mason as well, that there is, you know, if you're good enough and work hard enough, there is a clear pathway because we can see it all.
Absolutely. Opportunity at the end of the journey is the key ingredient. Any academy manager around the country, there's loads of great programs, but unless at the end of the journey you've got a manager that is going to give people debuts and is going to have faith in young players, your program's never ever going to reach its full potential. So we are blessed. We have got great staff, a great program, some talented young individuals. They're kind of non-negotiables, but the last piece of the jigsaw is a first team environment that is welcoming of young players. And it's not just the manager. You've got other staff in there who have got youth development in their blood. Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna, Richard Artis, Phelan. They understand not only the club, but they understand young people as well. So this season's been phenomenal, really. This last few weeks since the season came to an end, for us, has been a time to reflect. And you start to try and scribble down some of the landmarks, and I've actually lost count of some of their landmarks in terms of debuts, goals scored, performances. It's been absolutely unprecedented in terms of what's happening at our club compared to what's happening at many other clubs. Brandon and Mason would be big highlights, wouldn't they? I think they stick in the mind, but there was the game at Astana where we had 6 or 7 debuts. Obviously that was a circumstantial, but you're still going to have the kids that are good enough. And then sitting beneath that, obviously the 23s have had a great season, the 18s in the Youth Cup, an amazing little journey in the EFL Trophy. There's been so many kind of little landmarks, even kids that you forget are still kids, like Marcus and Jesse. I think Jesse hit 200 games for United this year. Not many people have done that out of our system. And Marcus hit 200 goals. Did he become the 4th youngest, 3rd youngest of our players to hit 200 goals? So there's landmarks every week, and we lose track. And so that was a long-winded answer. In essence, it's so important to have a manager that backs and supports the youth programme. And that's always been the way at this place.
Nick, you're doing a great job. Thanks so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, gents.
Cheers,
Nick.
mate.
Cheers, Nick.
Thank
you.
Nick Cox. Great work going on at Manchester United Academy. Nick Cox, the head of Academy. Well, we're now going to bring on our second guest of the day, actor, fantastic CV, more importantly, obviously a United fan as well, Will Mellor. He's also in the Sunshine. You're not in Essex as well, are you, Will, with Ben Thornley?
No, I'm not in Essex. No, I'm in Buckinghamshire. It's a beautiful day, beautiful morning.
How has lockdown been, mate, in terms of acting? Because I suppose, like the rest of us, are like football, and acting is just on hold, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, on a whole, it's all stopped. I was in South Africa just as this all happened. I flew out with Ralph Little to do a series called The World's Toughest Roads. They've done a few of them, and they flew us out to South Africa. We was out there for 2 days, and then they said we're having to cancel it because they're locking down the borders, so you're gonna have to go home. I'm gutted because, you know, I was really looking for. It was like one of them bucket list things. We're gonna go into Lesotho. We're gonna drive up the mountains and just meet some amazing people, do some amazing things. And you know, it got locked down, and we had to get back while we could. And then after that, nothing. It's just been, there was loads of things happening beforehand, and then because of lockdown, nothing. We're having to wait till this stops. I mean, I'm doing a series with Ralph at the moment called 2 Pints with Will and Ralph. It's a podcast. We filmed a few of them in a pub because it's all set in a pub. It's just me and him sat in a pub, chatting nonsense really, and talking about the old days, having a bit of fun. And we've been continuing them in lockdown over like a Zoom call. And it works for a podcast because it's obviously it's audio, but the visual one is a bit more difficult. But it's at least I'm doing something. Keeps me ticking over.
And how are you? Because obviously you were very publicly spoke about and discussed the very recent death of your dad. I mean, it must have been difficult for you. How actually are you?
I'm okay. It's one day at a time, you know. It's tough. I mean, it was he died on April April 15th. And it's weird. You've got the funeral pending in your back of your mind the whole time, and you've got to take care of your mum and my sisters. And I can't even hug my mum. I couldn't even hug my dad when he got taken ill. I mean, he got taken ill just after his birthday. He collapsed on March the 30th, and then he got his diagnosis about 5 days later that he'd had cancer. He got cancer of the lung, and it had gone to his brain. And then he literally passed away within 2 weeks. So it was very shocking. Even go and hug him, which was tough. And yeah, it's the hardest situation to be in, but this situation we're in now makes it even harder. So yeah, it has been tough. But I'm getting through it. I've got my family around me, so one step at a time, innit?
Well, it's obviously Mental Health Awareness Week as well, and you're ambassador for a mental health charity. How important is your mental health at this time, particularly for you?
Yeah, it's difficult for a lot of people. The reason why I spoke out is because I think because I'm an ambassador for Kaleidoscope Plus Group, which is a mental health charity, that I'm always saying to them, it's okay not to be okay, and it's good to talk. And then I found myself in a dark place, and I thought, well, I'd be a hypocrite if I don't go out and talk about it, and I don't talk about how I'm struggling a little bit. And talking does help, and having good people around you helps. And I was inundated with messages from people, close friends, obviously family, and the people I didn't really know that much. Everyone just got in touch and supported me and told me the situation they were in. Some people had lost their families and how they got through with it. So yeah, it is tough, and especially in men as well, encouraging men to talk about their issues, because that's, especially with the pubs being closed, usually men, they go to the pub and they do play darts or pool, have a few beers, have a chat about it, and it scratches the itch a little bit, even though men are not keen to come forward and talk about their problems. But when you're isolated, it's even harder. So yeah, I'm just trying to encourage men to get out and talk. And the Kaleidoscope Plus Group offer some amazing services for people who are struggling mentally, or even if you've got anxiety. There's a text line there, so it's faceless and voiceless. So if people are struggling to talk, you can actually text in. There'll be someone there who's a professional to help you out. So yeah, it is important to talk about it.
I just want to know, mate, how did you think the season were going, pal? I see you was offline last night at 10-1. Was having a few sherbets with you for the lads?
Do you mean no? I was in the house having a few sherbets for the change. The thing is, what it was is, I have a couple of beers in the garden, and then it's not every day, but it was a beautiful day. I've been up to see my mum, and then I come back, and then we were watching a documentary a series with the kids. I had a couple of glasses of wine, and then it's like I go to bed with a cup of tea, and you're always online in bed, aren't you? So me and my missus and the kids were all piled in the bedroom because you've got nothing to get up for. There's no such thing as bedtimes anymore. You know what I mean? So I just tend to wake up when I wake up. That's the only good thing about this lockdown is, what we got to do tomorrow, not much. So do what we want if you want. We just stay in bed as long as you want.
How did you think we were playing before? Obviously, the lockdown came in.
Do you know what? I was gutted. I thought the lockdown, it was a real bad time for United because we was on a roll, man. Fernandez is, the results changed as soon as he came in the team. I've never seen a player have that much impact. I mean, obviously Eric Cantona, you can think of and Ronaldo coming in, but Ronaldo was very young, but he came in and he just seemed to demand respect from the players, shouting at players, telling them where to go already, and I just thought we needed that, and it just seemed to kick everyone up the bum a little bit and start playing, and it just made us tick. I was over the moon with that signing. I think we need a few more, but yeah, I was really excited, really chuffed, Rolly, but really excited about where we're going.
Are you getting up to the games much, Will? When they're on, have you been coming up and seeing them?
Yeah, I have been. I came up quite a few times. I used to bring my dad all the time. And
right, we've had a slight technical issue in the last minute or two. Will's Wi-Fi, perhaps, or his whole system, it seemed to explode. And also, Ben, iPad, because it's so warm where he is, virtually melted. What happened to you, mate? He's now inside.
I've got to come inside because it just overheated. I've had to get the fan on it. Unbelievable.
And Will's back with us as well. I think just as Dan was going to ask a question, Danny.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, Will, so have you been getting up to the games much from down there?
Yeah, I go up as much as I can. I try and take my family. When my dad was alive, we used to go all the time. You know, it was and bring my mum, and you know, it's a treat to go to United, and I'm lucky enough to get access. So I try and take members of my family who haven't been my uncles or whatever. You know what I mean? People, because it's some people don't get a chance to get in and see the boys live, and as I say, I like to try and spread the love. I'm lucky enough to get in there, so. Yeah, I come up with my boy, my wife, my kids, or whatever, and yeah, I love it. You know what I mean? It's for the last couple of seasons, it's been frustrating a little bit, but I'm really impressed with the way before lockdown, the way we were playing and the way we were going. We're on a great run, so I'm really looking forward to the next season and seeing us play.
I think for you as a fan, mate, what for you though? When did it actually really start, or who are your United heroes from your formative supporting years?
I always had a Mark Hughes sock with the number 10 on the back because I always had big thighs as a kid. It's like they used to always call me like Mark Hughes legs and all that. So when I played, I used to pretend I was Mark Hughes. But yeah, I remember getting an autograph off Lee Sharp. My mum worked at a chippy, and the owner of the chippy's daughter was going out with Lee Sharp for a bit, and I got her to sign me a picture. And I had it on my bedroom wall for ages. You know what I mean? It was. Obviously Brian Robson and all that in them days. I remember my dad took me to a game when I was a kid, and it was, you know, it was a surprise for me. I think it cost us something like 12 quid or something like that. It was like, maybe less than that. And we sat in the Stretford paddock. I'll never forget it when they had the wooden seats, and it was just unbelievable. I was just in awe the whole time I was there, and you know, it's. I was born and bred Red because my dad was a Red, so I didn't have much choice, but. Yeah, I mean, I've had some amazing memories. I was at the game when it all kicked off with Paul Ince and Arsenal and all that. I was at the game there, and I remember all that. And just amazing memories, you know, great times. Yeah, I mean, with my dad as well at Old Trafford, just amazing times.
So it's his fault. It's his fault you're a United fan.
Well, yeah, I suppose it is. It didn't give him much of a choice. I did the same with my son, though. He had a Man United baby girl. He had no choice. As soon as I could, I bought everything Man United and stuck it on him, so all he could see was red. So my son didn't have much of a choice either. I just think it's the way it is. There's no point in him supporting anyone else. We're just going to end up arguing, aren't we? So might as well follow me.
We've had ups and downs recently, obviously, but you're now thinking, Ollie, you know, well, before we obviously had to shut down, is now getting the team how he wants it.
100%. And I was listening to the boys before talking about youth, and I think if anybody, I mean, Ollie understands the importance of the youth system, especially being brought up by Alex Ferguson as a player. If you're good enough to play, you'll play. Doesn't matter what age you are. And Mason's proved that, obviously. Marcus now is like an experienced player for United. You look at him, you forget how young he is. But you know, I just think, especially Brandon as well, I thought was a great find. And I just think we have got such energy and youth in the side now. A little bit of experience up top here will just be the glue for our team.
You know what, Will? I do miss your passion resonating round the Warwick Suite. I could actually hear you before I could see you when I was approaching it. It was funny.
I can't help it though. I can't help it.
I know.
It's just I think if you're not passionate, don't go. You know what I mean? I can't be one of them going, I don't care if we win or lose. I'm here for the pies and the drink. No, I'm there to watch Man United and I want us to win. You know what I mean? And we've been beaten up a little bit over the last few seasons, and I just can't wait to give it them back. And you know what I mean? The only way we do that is on the pitch by winning games. I've got my brother-in-law's a City fan. I've got some of my family are City fans. They've been giving it me loads, and I just can't wait to give it them back.
Listen, mate. Also, I'm sorry to throw this one in, but I'm a bit of a line of duty tragic, and I just want you to tell me what it was like being it. I know you came to a very unfortunate end in it, but what was it like being it?
It was great. I'd never really seen it before I got the job, and my agent said, "Oh, this is a really popular series," and I read the script. They only gave me the first episode, so when I went in and I got the job, I was buzzing. I thought, "Wait, I'm in this big series." I didn't know what was going to happen to me because they only showed me the first episode. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm well in here." And then I read episode 3, and I went, "Hang on, is that me?" No, listen. If you're in one episode, you're in 3. It doesn't matter. I was a privilege to be in a series that was so well written. Jim Mercurio is just the genius of a writer. I don't know how his brain works the way it does. I mean, because it's baffling to read, but I mean to see it on the TV, the conversations back and forth, and the clever little plot lines. And the thing that I love the most about it is nobody's safe. You think, oh, oh, he's going to be in it till the end, and then he's dead, and then he's going to be in it, and then he's gone. And I just think it's very clever writing. I just think now, I think they're widening it on a bit too long. It's like, just tell us who it is, you know what I mean? Every series you think you're going to find out who it is, and they leave you hanging. I think they're just saying, let's see if we can get this audience for another series. Or the cast want another payday.
Thanks, Will. We really appreciate it. Really appreciate it, mate.
Great to
Thanks
see
so
you,
much.
boys.
Cheers, Will, mate.
Brilliant. The brilliant Will Mellor joining us. Thanks, boys. Tomorrow, our guest on the show, well, the word legend was invented for this man, Ryan Giggs, on for our 40th show tomorrow. Join us for that. It's been mad today. Hope you enjoyed it. See you tomorrow, lads.
Take it easy.
See you, boys.
Cheers, lads.